Greetings from Sweden and welcome to Everyday Mystic, an aid to your liberation. My name is David, and today I'm going to essentially talk about perspectives. Because what I have learned along my journey is that perspective matters so much. Because depending on what perspective we take on things, we will perceive the world in a completely different way, and therefore we will also aim differently, speak differently, and act differently. So what I first want to talk about is this illusion that we have lived under for such a long time. And I truly believe that this illusion is at the core when it comes to our inability to create heaven here on earth. And it is that there is a conflict between what we want and what other people want. And again we come down to perspective here. We've so long learned that we have this struggle of wills, struggle for power, struggle for scarce resources. But is this really true? And we will have these conflicts as long as there are egos interacting with egos. But we are not our egos. We are immortal souls, immortal spiritual beings. And when we take this perspective, things will begin to change. Because when we act in the world from our egos, when we perceive the world from the perspective of the ego, we think that we want a bunch of things that we really don't want. We don't need all of these possessions. Of course, we should not listen to people that want to take our possessions away from us either. Because as long as there are people playing their power games, if we hand over all of our possessions to them, they will want to control and dominate us. But we are not here to acquire as much possession or as much power or as much pleasures as possible. We are not here to acquire a social status. None of these things are truly important. And when we realize that God exists and that we will live forever, we are not just living this little brief existence between 2 points of eternal oblivion. No. We are going to continue after this life. And when we understand this fully, what this means, and take this perspective on everything, what becomes important is our relationship with God, our relationship with others, and to live in accordance to higher values. Who we become as a consequences of how we act, of how we treat our insides, because these things actually work together. Our actions determine our character. And so our actions determine how we become on the inside. But this is of course not the only thing. How we talk to ourselves, how we work with different energies inside of our bodies, the chakra system, everything determines what kind of people we become. And when we aim at this instead of aim out into the physical reality and towards what we can get from the physical reality, everything begins to change. Do you focus on what you can control? And you do always have a certain amount of control of what is going on inside of yourself? Or do you focus on the things outside of yourself, where you don't have any real power? This is the shift that we are making, from the outside to the inside. And this is what is meant with as it is in heaven, so on earth. Because when we awaken to God's kingdom within, we start to act this out into the physical reality, and thus the physical reality begins to shift. This is how it works. This is how we create heaven on earth. And you look out into the world right now and you say, how can you possibly believe with all that is going on that we are actually on the verge of creating paradise on this planet? But I'm telling you, this is what we are heading towards. The darkness comes up so that we can see it for what it really is, so that we really know what our choices are when it comes to this. But there are so many things that we need to start letting go of, because we are heading for a complete transformation on the inside, and as we are going through this transformation, we will also see the consequences of this transformation manifest out in our physical reality. But every little ego trap has to go. We don't have to be perfect at this in this life, but eventually this is what we need to aim for. Looking at ourselves through really brutal looking glasses, but not in a condemning way. We need to become as aware of our dysfunctions that we have inside of ourselves as possible, all of our little neuroses, all of the little desires, wants and wishes that are not really in our or anyone else's best interest. And then we have to clean, but with compassion towards ourselves, because we didn't know what we were doing when we created these patterns within ourselves. But now we have a chance to change this. But we need to give up these things. Giving up, as I said, social status, hunt for power, wanting to be someone in the eyes of others. And all of these things are very insidious. You may think that you have given up on these things, but your behavior when you observe it might tell you a different story. How you speak might tell you a different story. But as long as we keep searching out in the physical reality, we will get nothing but dissatisfaction. Again, find God's kingdom within yourself. It is nowhere else to be found. You can look here, you can look there, as Jesus said, but it is only found within. That is what Jesus means by this. We keep looking out into the physical reality for things that can only be satisfied within ourselves. Jesus also said, I am the way, the truth and the life, and no one gets to the Father except through me. And I honestly believe that this is one of the most misinterpreted phrases of Jesus in history. People think that, oh, then I just have to believe that Jesus was the Son of God and that he died for my sins. And then I can go out and do whatever I want. I can go out and be a judgmental, angry know-it-all with zero understanding of who I really am. Do you really think that this is what Jesus meant? Or maybe, and this is my idea of what he actually meant, it's not that everyone that doesn't believe these things will go to hell for all eternity. But if you want to truly find your way back to God, you need to study Jesus, study his life, study his example. And again, you don't have to be perfect at this. Not at all. On the contrary, You are allowed to be as faulty, as broken, and you can suck at this as much as you want to. It doesn't matter. It is your will that matters. If you fail, if you fall, just get up again and do your best with what you've got in your life, with what you've got in front of you, and leave the rest to God, leave the rest to Jesus. This is what I believe is meant by this. If you want to truly get to know God, if you truly want to get in contact with the Father, then you have to study the ways of Jesus. You have to follow the ways of Jesus to the best of your ability. Not because you will get punished if you don't, but because this is what it truly means to awaken the kingdom of God within, and thus acting it out into the world. What this means beyond this life, I cannot really say. I don't know. And I don't think anyone else really knows this either. But if you want this connection here and now, this is what you have to aim for. And you really only have the here and now. The past is gone, the future is not really here. You are always living in the here and now. And then there is a whole discussion to be had about what time really is and what eternity really is. But I think I will leave this to another video. So, no matter how bad you are at it, strive to be Christ-like. If everyone did that, it wouldn't matter how bad they were at being Christ-like. We would absolutely create heaven here on earth. And isn't this really what we want? To bring the discussion back to what I said in the beginning. To live in peaceful, harmonious existence with our brothers and sisters in the human family. To have a strong connection with God. And to truly contribute to creating a wonderful world for everyone that lives in it. And to grow in our relationship with God, to grow and evolve within ourselves, not because it is demanded of us, but because there is nothing better to do with our lives, because there is nothing better to do with our existence. So, this is about making the shift from what we want our actions, motives and drives to lead to in the external reality, to how they affect us and others on an energetic level, and to whatever is going on within ourselves, our relationship to ourselves, our relationship with God, and how our relationship with ourselves and each other is affecting our relationship with God. Because life truly is so much more than our physical senses tell us. And the more you go through your spiritual awakening, the more you connect with God, the more you get into alignment with the higher, the more you raise with your vibration, all of these things. I talk about it in other videos on this channel. The more you do this, the more you will begin to shift your insides, the more you will come into contact with different aspects of yourself that you didn't even know existed. And the more you do this, the more you will also naturally start to create heaven on earth. And that's it for today. If you like this video, please leave a like, leave a comment and share the video on social media and other places. All of it helps the channel to grow. And if you haven't done it already, subscribe to the channel. and hit the notification bell so YouTube always notifies you when I put up new videos, which I now do Thursdays and Sundays. And also check out the description and the comment section for other things that me and my wife are doing. And other than that, just sincerely thank you for your time.